Hello students, welcome to another lecture of pharmaceutical jurisprudence. In our last lecture, we started with the third unit and the first topic in unit first was the Pharmacy Act. And yesterday we discussed about the introduction of the Pharmacy Act, and today we will be studying about the Pharmacy Council of India, its objectives and functions, and we will be studying about State Pharmacy Council and Joint Pharmacy Council. So basically the pharmacy education and the profession of pharmacy in India up to the graduate level is regulated by the Pharmacy Council of India, which is a body governed by the provisions which are laid down in the Pharmacy Act, which was passed in 1948. So talking about the objectives of Pharmacy Council of India, the first objective is to regulate the pharmacy education in the country. The second is to allow the registration as pharmacist under the provisions laid down in the Pharmacy Act. Then a main objective is to regulate the profession and practice of pharmacy. Now talking about the functions of Pharmacy Council of India, the first function is to prescribe the minimum standard of education which is required for qualifying as a pharmacist, right? Minimum qualification for the pharmacist is basically governed by the Pharmacy Council of India. It also works in framing of the educational regulations and prescribing the conditions to be fulfilled by the institutions seeking approval of the Pharmacy Council of India for imparting education in pharmacy, right? Then its main function is to ensure uniform implementation of the educational standards throughout the country. Continuing with the function, the next function is the inspection of pharmacy institutions which are seeking approval under the Pharmacy Act to verify availability of the prescribed norms. Then another function is to approve the course of study and examination for pharmacists, meaning the approval of the academic training institutions providing pharmacy courses. Approval of the institutions is also the function of Pharmacy Council of India. Then its function is also to withdraw the approval if the approved course of study or an approved examination does not continue to be in conformity with the educational standards which are prescribed by the Pharmacy Council of India. So it can withdraw approval at any point of time if it finds any discrepancies, right? Then a very important function is to maintain the central register of pharmacists, where the list of all the registered pharmacists in the country is mentioned. Now talking about State Pharmacy Council. So State Pharmacy Council and Joint Pharmacy Council, they are constituted by the state government. Like Pharmacy Council of India is constituted by the central government, the State Pharmacy Council and Joint Pharmacy Council is constituted by the state government. State Pharmacy Council is constituted by different states, and Joint Pharmacy Council is mainly constituted when two states or more than two states, they agree on a particular condition and they agree to form a single council, right? At that point of time, a Joint Pharmacy Council is formed. So firstly, talking about the State Pharmacy Council, it is the constitution of a pharmacy council in each state, and its composition is mainly divided into three broad categories. The first are the elected members, second are nominated members, and third are ex officio members. So in elected members, 6 members which are elected from among themselves by a registered pharmacist of the state, and 1 member elected by the medical council of the particular state, right? Talking about the nominated members, 5 members should be nominated by the state government. Then ex officio members, the first member is the chief administrative medical officer in the state. The second is the officer in charge of drugs control administration of that particular state, and the third member is a government analyst from that particular state. Now talking about Joint State Pharmacy Council, as I told you in my previous slide, when 2 or more states, they enter into an agreement to form a Joint State Pharmacy Council. That time a Joint State Pharmacy Council is mainly formed. In Joint State Pharmacy Council, again the members are divided into three broad categories: elected members, nominated members, and ex officio members. In elected members, registered pharmacists are there, 3 to 5 from each state instead of 6 in a single state council, right? And from the medical council, 1 from each state should be there. Nominated members, mainly government nominees are there, 2 to 4 from each state instead of 5 members from a single state, right? Then coming to ex officio members, chief administrative medical officer, then officer in charge of drugs control administration of all the states, and a government analyst from each state which is participating in that agreement. Now talking about the state councils, basically, so each council should have a president and a vice president which is elected by the members from amongst themselves, provided for a period of 5 years. Then the president of that particular state council will be nominated by the state government, and if he is not already a member, he becomes a member of the council in addition. Now the president and the vice president, they hold the office for a period of 5 years and they can resign at any point of time, right? The members, again the members which are there in the state pharmacy council, they can be re-elected or re-nominated, and they can resign at any point of time. And they have to resign by giving a written resignation letter to the president of that particular council. And the state council also has the responsibility or the power to appoint inspectors who are basically eligible or who have the duty to inspect the premises where the compounding or dispensing of drugs are being done, and they also have the right or the responsibility of inspecting any person who is engaged in the compounding of a drug product. Now coming to the offences and penalties, so if a person is falsely claiming to be a registered pharmacist, he is liable for a fine up to 500 rupees on the first conviction, fine up to 1000 rupees, and 6 months of imprisonment of any subsequent conviction, right? Secondly, if a person is seen to dispense any particular drug product by unregistered person, right, except a medical practitioner, then a person is liable for a imprisonment of 6 months or a fine up to 1000 rupees or both. If a person fails to show the certificate of his registration, then he is liable for a fine up to rupees 50. And if a person is seen obstructing the state pharmacy council inspectors, then a person is liable for an imprisonment of 6 months or a fine of rupees 1000 or both of these, right? So thank you so much, dear students. This was all in today's lecture. Today we studied about the objectives and functions of Pharmacy Council of India, and we also studied about the State Pharmacy Council and Joint Pharmacy Council, and we studied about the offences and penalties which are there if any rules are broken under the Pharmacy Act, right? In the next lecture we will be studying about the procedure for registration as a pharmacist. So thank you so much for attending today's lecture. If you have any queries, any doubt, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.